Welcome to Sleep with Myth. Close your eyes and let the world fade away. Tonight we drift beyond time, where gods dream and stories remember their light. In the silence between worlds, where breath and dust once met, there lies the hall of two truths, a chamber older than death, deeper than memory. Its pillars gleam like frozen sunlight, carved with the words that measure the weight of every soul. There, the goddess Ma'at, keeper of balance, waits beside her scales, one pan holding the feather of truth, the other awaiting the hearts of the dead. Every life ever lived passes this place. Pharaohs and beggars alike walk the same narrow causeway of light, guided by the jackal-headed god Anubis, who carries the heart cupped gently in his hands. Behind them, the river of souls glows faintly, the Nile reborn in shadow, its waters whispering every secret that mortals once hid. When the first of the night winds begins to stir, a single soul approaches. He is nameless now, stripped of title and treasure, clothed only in memory. Before him stands the feather, lighter than a sigh, brighter than the dawn. And beside it, the silent goddess whose eyes reflect the stars that judge all things. "Speak," says Ma'at softly, though her voice fills the hall like the movement of the sun. "What did you love? And what did you destroy?" The soul trembles. It remembers warmth, a child's laughter, a field of grain, the scent of rain on stone. But it also remembers envy, fear, and the shadow of cruelty that once followed his footsteps. As he speaks, Anubis places the heart upon the scale. The pan sinks, not heavy, but uncertain, like a wind caught between two worlds. The feather shivers, glowing faintly with light not of this earth. From the far side of the chamber, a growl stirs. Ammit, the devourer, half crocodile, half lion, half hippopotamus, waiting in the silence for hearts that fail the test. The soul looks up in fear, but Ma'at only watches, patient, eternal. "The truth is not punishment," she whispers. "It is return. You are what you remember, and you will go where your weight decides." And so the first judgment begins, the feather trembling, the heart glowing red with all it ever held. The walls of the hall hum softly with hymns of balance, sung by unseen voices, the words of the dead, the prayers of the living, the silence between. As the scales move, time slows. The breath of Ra, the light of the sun god himself, filters through the roof of the chamber. The dead man closes his eyes. For the first time he feels lighter. The hall fades, and the soul finds itself standing upon the edge of a vast and quiet river. The same Nile, but older, deeper, and slower. It does not flow toward the sea, but into memory. The waters are dark glass, mirroring everything the soul ever was, every thought it ever carried. From the mist, a boat appears, small, golden, and silent. Its hull glows faintly with inscriptions of truth, and at its helm stands a figure cloaked in blue fire, Thoth, the god of wisdom and writing, who records the outcome of every judgment. "Your words are carved," Thoth says, "but the ink of the soul is made of what it remembers. Come, see yourself as the gods have seen you." The soul steps into the boat. The water barely ripples beneath it, though it feels the weight of countless eyes from beneath the surface, those who once lived, waiting to see which current will claim this one. As they drift, the soul sees visions forming in the reflection. A mother's face, bright with pride. The hands of a man he betrayed. The moment he lied and watched another suffer for it. The laughter he took for granted. The kindness he forgot to return. Each image ripples and sinks, leaving rings of light that pulse outward into the infinite night. Thoth watches, his quill scratching against a scroll that glows with divine light. All that you were becomes what you will be, he murmurs. Even the gods must face their reflection, for creation itself began when the heavens saw themselves in the void. The soul dares to ask, is there mercy in truth? Thoth's eyes glimmer. There is only balance, but balance is mercy in disguise. As the boat glides forward, the air begins to hum, the echo of hearts being weighed far behind them in the hall of two truths. Each sound is a life being remembered, judged, and released. The river opens into a lake of stars, souls shining faintly like constellations, waiting for their next dawn. Thoth gestures, and the reflection beneath the soul begins to brighten until it cannot bear to look. Your truth will follow you, says Thoth, and when you meet Ma'at again, she will not ask what you have done, but what you have learned. The lake of stars drifts away behind the soul as the golden boat returns once more to solid ground. But the ground is not earth. It is thought itself, woven from the breath of Ra and the whisper of truth. There stands Ma'at again, radiant and still. Yet now, the feather in her hand flickers softly, like a flame remembering wind. The goddess's eyes fall upon the soul, and she speaks in a tone that feels less like command and more like remembering. Every feather has memory, she says. Every truth carries the echo of its discovery. You have seen what you were. Now you will feel what you caused. The hall dissolves into scenes, not of the soul's own deeds, but of those who bore the ripples of them. He sees the woman he once ignored, kneeling alone beneath the same sun he thought belonged only to him. He feels the hunger of a stranger whose food he took. He feels the joy of a friend he once saved, a light so pure it hurts. Each emotion passes through him like the wind through reeds, bending him without breaking. Truth is not the weight of words, says Ma'at. It is the echo they leave. As she speaks, the feather drifts from her hand and floats before him. It glows with color gold, then crimson, then white, until it becomes translucent, a window through which all creation hums. Through it, the soul sees the weave of balance itself. Every cruelty balanced by kindness, every lie by a moment of honesty, every silence by a song unspoken. The cosmos breathes, and in its rhythm he feels a strange peace, the kind that does not erase sorrow but understands it. From beyond the hall, Anubis's voice comes like distant thunder. It is time. Ma'at turns to the scales once more. The feather hovers, waiting, and the heart glows dimly in its pan, pulsing with slow light. But now the heart feels lighter, not because it is pure, but because it finally understands what it carries. And for the first time, Ma'at smiles. Balance is not perfection, she whispers. It is the moment the soul learns to see itself without fear. The feather descends toward the scale, and the world holds its breath. The feather touches the scale. For a heartbeat, all creation stops breathing. A single note hums through the hall of two truths, a tone so deep that even the stars seem to tremble. The beam wavers, tilting first toward the heart, then toward the feather. The soul can feel the weight of its own choices pressing down like a tide. From the shadowed edge of the hall, a new presence awakens. The sound is not footsteps, it is hunger made flesh. Amit, the devourer of the unworthy, emerges from the dark. Crocodile jaws, lion's chest, hippopotamus haunches, the three powers of destruction bound into one. Her eyes burn with the light of judgment long denied. She breathes, and the air grows heavy with the scent of ancient water and forgotten sin. Few I have eaten, she growls softly, but many I have frightened. The soul trembles, but Ma'at raises a hand, stilling the creature. The devourer does not hunger for flesh, she says. She hungers for imbalance. What you have learned may yet feed the light instead. Amit's golden eyes narrow. Then let the soul decide if it is meal or memory. The scales tilt again. The heart glows faintly, heavier now, not with guilt but with understanding. The feather shimmers brighter, the color of dawn breaking over desert sand. Ma'at looks upon both with calm reverence. The heart that knows itself, she says, has already begun to rise. The devourer leans closer. And if it does not, Ma'at's voice becomes wind. Then it will be returned to silence. And silence is mercy for those who have forgotten their song. Amit nods and waits, her breath echoing like the tide of eternity. The scale steadies, perfect balance. A single spark of gold passes between feather and heart, binding them with invisible thread. Amit sighs, disappointed, but peaceful. Then it is not my meal today. She retreats into the darkness, leaving only ripples of sand and quiet. Ma'at gazes upon the soul. You have walked the corridor between truth and fear. Few ever leave this hall unchanged. The soul whispers, "What am I now?" Ma'at smiles faintly. You are what you remember, and what you choose to become when remembering no longer hurts. The hall fills with light, not blinding, but endless. The scales vanish, the feather dissolves, and the heart becomes a star. Beyond the horizon, the river begins to flow again, toward morning. The light does not come from above. It rises from within. The soul, now weightless, stands alone in the vast expanse of the Duat, the land between what was and what may be. There is no floor, no ceiling, only the shimmer of eternity folding in on itself like waves of liquid gold. And from the center of this endlessness, a soft pulse, a heart made of starlight, beats once, and the world breathes again. The voice of Ma'at lingers like incense. Every soul that remembers its balance must return the light it was given. The soul looks down. Its hands, once trembling, now glow faintly, as though dusted with dawn. Around him, fragments of his life drift in the air. Laughter, sorrow, promise, silence. Each memory burns gently without pain. They orbit him like stars, not as judgment, but as completion. A current moves beneath his feet, not water, not air, but meaning. He follows it, and the current carries him forward through the fabric of existence, past the constellations carved by gods and the thoughts of mortals who dared to dream. In the distance, a golden horizon glows, and on its edge, the boat of Ra glides once more. Its sail, woven from sunlight, calls softly like a heartbeat waiting to be remembered. Anubis stands by the prow, his jackal form tall and still. The journey ends, he says, and begins again. The soul bows his head. Was I worthy? Anubis's eyes, dark as eternity, blink once. You were balanced, and that is the only worth creation knows. Ma'at's feather drifts down from the unseen, glowing brighter than the sun. It touches the soul's brow and vanishes, not as blessing, but as memory reborn. The current deepens, and the soul feels himself pulled toward the horizon. He turns once, seeing the hall of two truths dissolve behind him, its pillars becoming stars, its silence becoming song. As he rises toward dawn, a whisper echoes from the void. Balance is the bridge between shadow and light. To walk it is to live twice, once in truth and once in peace. The golden light opens before him, and he steps through, not as what he was, but as what he has become, a spark of equilibrium in the heart of creation. The river of light narrows as it climbs toward the horizon. It no longer feels like motion, more like awakening. The soul drifts upward through layers of color and memory. Sapphire like the waters of Nun, amber like the dawn of Ra, and at last, pure white, the breath of creation itself. Each layer hums with the echoes of lives once lived, with prayers whispered by voices that will never meet again. At the threshold of the sky, Ma'at waits. She no longer stands in the hall of two truths. Here, she is infinite, woven into the fabric of the heavens, her wings stretched across the stars. In her palm rests the feather, now weightless, translucent, eternal. It no longer belongs to judgment. It belongs to balance. She speaks, and her voice ripples through the constellations. You have carried the weight of truth and found its song. Now return what was given. The soul bows and reaches out. When his fingers touch the feather, it dissolves into light, threads of gold weaving through him, rising beyond him. They scatter into the cosmos like sparks of dawn. Across creation, balance stirs. A storm calms. A child forgives. A king lays down his crown. Somewhere far below, another heart finds courage to face its reflection. Ma'at watches silently, her expression unreadable. The serenity of one who knows that every ending is a beginning unseen. The soul looks down one last time. The duet glows beneath him, a river of stars winding endlessly through shadow and light. He hears the distant beat of Ra's or striking the horizon, a rhythm as old as time. The goddess places her hand over his heart. Truth is never lost, she whispers, only remembered in new forms. The soul smiles not in triumph, but in peace. He dissolves into the morning wind, becoming the first breath of another dawn. And in that moment, Ma'at lifts her wings, releasing the last feather into the rising light. It drifts higher and higher until it becomes indistinguishable from the sky itself. A single stroke of white woven into eternity. Thank you for listening to Sleep with Myth. May balance find you in every dream.